Hi, my name is Gibson, and I'm the co-owner and creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video, and in this video, I'm going to talk about the anxious, preoccupied, and fearful avoidant, and the importance and essence of what it means to set a boundary. And then at the end of this video, we're going to talk specifically about a 3-step boundary identification process to really help simplify this. Now, before I dive in, I do want to let you guys know we are still doing a sale to support our community. The coupon code is with you, all one word, and you will find it on a button in here or in the description below to click and take you through to the page, and you can just apply it in there when you go to organize everything. So inside of our school, we have a tremendously in-depth boundaries course that literally goes through how to set boundaries, how to know when you need to set a boundary, the different types of boundaries, the types of boundary violations that are because of people doing something, the types of boundary violations that are because of people not doing something when they should be doing something. And then boundaries in all of the different areas of life. So we have like a really in-depth process, but this is something I see people struggling with so much. So I have another video on this channel, I think, about boundaries and like what they are and all of that, but here's a quick process and here's what the essence of setting a boundary means. So fearful avoidance and anxious preoccupied individuals both tend to be hyper-focused on people outside of them and largely feel, because of core wounds that they've experienced, usually from childhood, that they're responsible for basically like making themselves fit into the lives of others, making themselves show up in a way that keeps them from being abandoned or keeps them safe if they're perfectionistic in their interpersonal interactions, things like this. Now, while this isn't always the case, it largely is what is running their internal communication and connection when they're in group dynamics. And so, or even in like an interpersonal romantic relationship, probably even more so than in group dynamics. Now, what happens as a result of this hyper-focus externally, and when we can't be focused internally and externally simultaneously, the casualty becomes internal focus, being in connection and in communion with our internal landscape of our psychological reality. And so what takes place is that the anxious and fearful avoidant both stop considering themselves when making a decision. And this is the essence of what's required in order to set boundaries. And usually, because you're so hyper-focused, you actually lose your capacity to consider yourself the moment you're in an interpersonal reaction. An example of this might be something like you're with a group of friends, everybody's like, hey, let's go to X place for dinner. And maybe internally you're trying to eat healthily and they're saying, let's go to McDonald's, or you are trying to get home by a certain time and you've set that intention sort of earlier and you've got things to do, but they want to go and it's going to be a 2-hour wait at that restaurant. Like whatever it is, often what happens is you get so focused on the group dynamic and making sure that you're safe and okay, or the interpersonal dynamic between yourself and maybe a loved one or a close relationship, that you actually lose your capacity to consciously take yourself into consideration fully in that moment. And so there's not like a, that sounds interesting. I like that place for dinner, but I have to be home by a certain time. I probably can't go there for the entire time. So maybe I should tell them, I can come for an appetizer, but I'll have to leave early. Or maybe I should say, hey, I hope you guys have fun. I'll see you next time. There's no like pausing and space of like going inwards and considering the self and then being able to create an output from that. And this is how the fearful, avoidant, anxious, preoccupied can struggle to set boundaries. Dismissive avoidance actually experiences too, to a certain degree, but for a different set of reasons that I'm not going to go into. Maybe I'll do a separate video about that. But what I want you guys to notice and recognize is the output that this creates and basically the internal pain or frustration this causes, because self-trust is also largely based on the ability to take yourself into consideration. And when you can't do that, you can't get in touch with what you need, and you definitely can't express it to somebody else. And most insecure attachment styles have had the experience of, doing something and then getting home later and being like, oh my gosh, I should have said that thing. Or, oh my gosh, why did I not leave earlier? Or, oh my gosh, if only I spoke up in that moment. And usually you didn't even recognize that you needed to in the moment that first occurred. And so the point I'm trying to make from all of this is that the essence of what's required to set boundaries is the ability to take yourself into consideration as you commit to any decisions, choices, or actions in a dynamic between one or more people. And so this is what needs to be implemented first. And then the expression of boundaries and everything else that comes with, everything else that means, is secondary. So I hope that you guys can witness that, notice that, work on that. And then the communication of boundaries, or a quick boundary identification process, actually, the 3 steps are: what do I feel that feels uncomfortable? What do I need to feel relief? And how can I communicate that to somebody else? And really, a boundary, when something is violated, the way of recognizing that is recognizing the emotions that come up as feedback to let you know that, because that's what they're there for. And then to be able to go inward, recognize what you would need instead. You're getting clear in your feelings, getting clear in your needs, and then you are expressing that in a healthy and assertive way. So I hope this was really useful. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you're getting a lot of value out of these videos, and I will see you in the next video.